Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you. I love you and appreciate you. So today we're going to be talking about how to get the job at Ulta. So what to expect in an interview and how to get the job. All right, so if you're interested, just keep watching. Hey y'all, so as you've heard from the intro, we're going to be talking about how to get the job at Ulta, what you should expect when going on an interview, and I'll go over all the information that I have and share it with y'all. I applied for the position of Prestige Beauty Advisor, okay? So that's the only position that I can speak to because that's the only position that I've ever applied for Ulta. And so I'll tell you about that and my experience. So if you're looking for something similar, then this is for you. So I did a regular online application, just like anywhere else. And I was looking for full-time work. This was before I worked at the job that I'm currently at. If you are new here, then you do not know that I am a makeup artist, but I also work a 9 to 5, okay? So we'll talk about that in another video. But anyway, this was before I had started. I was in between jobs at the time. So I was laid off from one job, and then I had applied for some other jobs, but hadn't accepted any offers yet. So I applied for Ulta online. I did the application. Then maybe about between 4 or 5 days later, I received a response and a request for an interview. So I got this interview around the same time that I took my interview with MAC Cosmetics. And I'm gonna link the video somewhere on the screen so that you can watch that video. But yeah, so I interviewed with MAC, and then I was waiting on my third interview at the time that Ulta asked me to come in for an interview. So I kind of felt like I already had it in the bag with MAC, so I wasn't sure about taking an interview with Ulta, but I was like, you know what? At the end of the day, nothing is set in stone. I had not received an offer from MAC, so I went ahead and went to the interview for Ulta. If you're familiar with Ulta, then you are already familiar with what that means and what that position entails. So it's basically the same position. You have the same responsibilities as you would if you worked at any other makeup counter. So you would be required to sell prestige brands like Anastasia, Beverly Hills, MAC, Tarte, things like that. Because anybody that's been in an Ulta, then you're familiar with the way that things are structured there, and they have one side that's dedicated to drugstore brands and another side that's dedicated to prestige brands. I've been a makeup artist for about 6 years now, and I built my kit entirely on my own. So I have a mixture of drugstore and prestige brands in my kit. It was only a year of experience required for the job. When I got to the interview, it was fairly quick. I was interviewed by one of the managers. She asked me my availability. She asked me like what I bring to the table. So I expected a lot of makeup questions. Sort of similar to the interview at MAC, where they asked me a few things about MAC Cosmetics. And, but the difference is that Ulta, of course, carries multiple different brands. So perhaps that's why they didn't really ask me too many questions about a specific brand or like about cosmetics. They mostly wanted to know what my customer service background was, and if I had any retail or sales experience. You know, I worked at a department store when I was very young. So that was my first job, and that was pretty much the only retail experience that I had. From there, I went to work into a car dealership, and then from there, I went working at an office. I went into a clerical position, and I stayed in that clerical position for the next 12 years. And then I moved into a court setting. So my experience to date, when I took the interview with Ulta, I didn't have much retail experience. So it's okay if you don't. Most of the jobs that I've had, I wouldn't say were necessarily specifically set in customer service. However, I was working closely with the public in pretty much all of those roles. So I do have a great deal of experience working with the public, working with customers or clients. I have 6 years of experience working with clients in the beauty industry. I definitely use that to my advantage, and I explained how I run my business. And anybody that's a small business owner, entrepreneur, you know that when you begin a thing, you are the only employee. You are everything. So they asked me a few questions about like my personality, gave me some scenarios. And if you've ever been in an interview, a lot of companies do this. They'll ask you something like, they'll give you a scenario. For example, if you saw a coworker taking products and putting them in their purse at the end of their shift, what would you do? And of course, you would answer to the best of your knowledge, and of course, you want to show that you have integrity and that you're trustworthy and that you're honest. I mean, it's like the standard. Honestly, I didn't have too many questions relating to makeup. And that was surprising to me because, like I said, when I interviewed for MAC, they did ask me some questions about the company, and they asked me questions relating to makeup. So unlike MAC, they didn't ask me like what kind of makeup I was wearing that day or anything like that. But speaking of, let's get to that part. I prepared for my interview just like I did for MAC, and I wore mostly black. I knew that was the standard for MAC, and so that's what MAC employees wear is all black, so I wore all black. When I'm doing makeup, my clients, I always show up in all black. I feel like it's just standard for the industry, and I like to wear black anyway, like personally. So I wore black slacks. I wore a pink button-up blouse. I felt like it was a fun play on color, but to kind of switch up the black. And I wore leopard print flats. I wore my hair up in a bun, and just a nice sleek bun. I wore studs, and of course I didn't go in there with these bad boys because I know we're trying to change the standard of what professionalism looks like, but I don't think they're ready for these just yet. I took a printout of my resume and my references in case they ask for it. So I picked up some resume paper from Walmart. It cost me about $8. And I printed my resume, printed my references, put them in a little folder, which you can also get from Walmart for anywhere from like $1 to $4. You can get some nice little folders to put your resume in, and it just looks nice instead of just giving them the paper or not bringing it at all. At the end of the day, it's 2022. A lot, of companies are doing everything virtually or digitally. So I've had a few virtual interviews at this point, and it's become extremely popular since the pandemic. I think it just looks good. It looks professional. But of course, when I showed up to Ulta, they told me they already had my resume on file, but that she would take it, and she did. The big thing was availability, okay? So this was coming upon a busy season, okay? So there's gonna be busy seasons for beauty businesses. We all know that proms, graduations, those all happen around May, or the spring time. weddings, very, very popular in the springtime and summertime and even into the fall. And then when the fall comes in, then you're starting to get ready for the holiday rush. So I came in and did the interview at a time where it was creeping up on a busy season for Ulta. And so it was extremely imperative that I had a flexible schedule. The hours that you get obviously are going to depend on where you're being hired. So my only concern was childcare. I have a baby girl and I was concerned about working full-time hours away from the home and putting her in childcare because she had never been to childcare. I was a little bit nervous about that because I relocated to a new place and I didn't know any childcare providers. So I was really nervous about that, and so I was concerned about working certain hours. I needed something to work around my husband's work schedule, and it was a little bit of a hassle to try to figure those things out. But I knew that I needed to work, and so I was going to do what I needed to do. That was pretty much the interview. The only other questions that she asked me about were like in my previous jobs, how my attendance was, tardiness, things like that. So again, very general, basic questions. Essentially, the job is going to be a sales position. I think the whole interview took me about between 15 and 20 minutes. It was a very quick interview. They told me thank you for coming and that, you know, they should be making a decision over the next 2 days. So it was like a, maybe like a Tuesday, like a Monday or Tuesday. So on Friday, I received an offer for employment and they sent over the information. Now, a lot of people don't talk about this, but I'm gonna tell y'all because y'all need to know. But you get paid a little bit more if it's a prestige beauty advisor, okay? As opposed to if you're like a cashier. I would say that if the beauty advisor and prestige beauty advisor, I believe, make the same amount. But it's definitely going to depend on your area, on how much you get paid. So that's something to keep in mind. I ended up accepting a position with a different company. So all in all, I did not end up working for Ulta. I declined the offer, but it was a cool opportunity, and I'm glad that I was able to have it. And I had never thought about interviewing at Ulta. I don't know why I spent so much money there. I should be getting some money back from working there. But yeah, so it was my first time interviewing for Ulta and my first job offer from Ulta. So ultimately, it wasn't the right fit for me and my family at the time. However, you know, if this is something that sounds like that you're interested in, it sounds like you want to do, then definitely go for it. It was a blessing to be able to be offered employment, and also another blessing to have options. This is letting you know what to expect if you are going for a job in Ulta. And if you are, blessings to you. And I hope that you enjoy this video. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share, hit that notification bell so you know every time a new video drops. All right, so till next time, I'll see you later.